Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we ended up dealing with the Xeno species that was being used to make the drug and the remnants of the Imperial Guard that were making the drug, along with some Alpha Legion guys who turns out there's probably more on this planet, so we get to go back out and investigate that and probably find them and deal with them. Orbital assets have located the Alpha Legion encampment. Blessed be the Emperor. Fortunately, the enemy is small in numbers, but they are still Chaos Space Marines occupying fortified positions. Assault the encampment and exact just punishment on the arch traitors.
Between the stars, the ancient, unseen enemies of mankind wait and hunger. Be strong and give them no quarter.
So going off of last episode's rant about Unification mod or Unification mod for Dawn of War, I was thinking, you know what would be kind of cool? A Warhammer game or a Dawn of War if you want it to be under that brand, but in the vein of something like Supreme Commander. Now, Supreme Commander, you didn't really look at your units all too much in terms of their actual appearance, because it was a very grand scale thing. But I think it'd be cool because there was so much depth to it between like visual detection, radar detection, and stuff like that, and being able to have units that are cloaked and how that works. Ooh, fancy. But I'm just thinking, imagine that, but 40K, like the ultimate apocalypse experience. You have, like, honestly, Dawn of War 1 maybe visual quality on the units, which isn't too great, but it still serves its purpose, you know? It's not... There are games that look way worse. But so you have that, and then you just have absolute legions. You know, you can have guardsmen digging trenches and having them line these trenches while you have structures way back producing units and collecting resources. You could probably fit buildings into garrison and stuff like that. You could have this really cool system to have this, essentially the truest apocalypse scenario. Titans would be very easily discernible marching through, and you know, you'd have orc gargants and all this stuff. You could do some really cool stuff. It's just, realistically, you wouldn't be zooming in to see your guys all too much, and you would see entire units getting wiped out in single attacks, potentially. And you could have proper, you know, super weapons. Because it always kind of sucks when you see, even in Ultimate Apocalypse, some of the super weapons, or some of the abilities, like I know Chaos can summon a gate to the warp, but it's this really tiny spot, and it's like, ooh, what are you gonna do? It's maybe the size of... Probably, considering the unit size, it's probably about the size of the area on this screen right now. And this is all that gets affected, and it just makes some enemies go mad. And I'm just thinking, imagine having the ability to do something massive like that, but just huge, you know, maybe a segment as big as, honestly, from like the top of my detected area to the middle of this middle section, so it's almost like quarter the map. You know, bigger areas that you can have an effect on. You could introduce so many cool things. Or I think about how the Gene Stealers work in that game. Well, Tyranids in general. How in Ultimate Apocalypse they have a bunch of different orbital things they can call in. And how interesting that would be, effectively lore-wise, saying, hey, it's the Hive fleet in orbit or nearby calling in stuff. You could have proper fighter combat. There's a lot you could do, and I think it's a prime opportunity that nobody's really taking. And I think part of the problem is because it's way more pulled back in terms of the grand strategy, and it's less, hey, look at these models we painstakingly, you know, created. So I don't think I could ever see it actually happening, because I don't think Games Workshop would be down for it. Though I wish it would, because I love games like Supreme Commander. 1, not 2. 2, they screwed up. Too much simplification, removing a lot of the fun stuff. They should have just made Subcom 2 just a more stable game, more maps, more factions. That alone would have been nice. Man, after I'm done recording this, I think I'm gonna watch some Supreme Commander gameplay. I know there's still a competitive scene for it. You know, it kind of reminds me of like Age of Empires 2, where it's a game so old that you don't expect there to be a competitive scene still, but somehow there is. There's still a good number of diehards who are like, yo, this game is still the best. And that makes me happy, especially when it comes to like Age of Empires 2. That game is 20 years old. A bit disappointing no one's made anything better. Granted, a lot can be said in regards to Dawn of War 2. Dawn of War 2 still has competitive, at least an elite mod. And that, I don't know how long an elite mod's been out, but I know Dawn of War 2 came out like 2009? So you're looking at just 12-year-old game? God, it's still funny to me. RTS games have some of the best longevity. Only things that beat it are like, I wouldn't even say Counter-Strike, because Counter-Strike's had to, I mean, CSGO has been out for years now. I remember when that was, they had like a demo, because they were doing a console version. I remember it was at a friend's house in high school, and he had downloaded it on his PS3. That is not a game meant for consoles. Try as you might, you really can't turn CSGO into a console game. Same as like console RTS games. another friend of mine, he had Battle for Middle-earth 2 on Xbox. The 360 to be specific, but I remember playing it, and I was like, dude, I have this on PC, it's so much nicer. It's like playing Halo Wars, where it's like, oh, to select these units, hit this button, and you create a circle that selects everything inside. I'm thinking, how about no? Give me a mouse, my guy. RTS games, I don't like pulling the PC versus console elitism because I use both, and I think each has their own merits, but RTS games are meant for PC. You have so much more finite control. Granted, I can't stand, StarCraft, effectively. I've watched high-end StarCraft players, and it is the most nausea-inducing stuff I've ever seen. These dudes will be, rapid-fire hitting 2 buttons, toggling between, 2 units in, 100 clicks a minute, and I'm sitting here. It's more than that, honestly. They're rapid-fire. You'd swear they're gonna break their computer or their keyboard level clicking. I'm like, dude, what good are you doing? You're not even engaging in combat. You're just standing here waiting. It reminds me of those kids who would sit there with a pen just rapid-fire click it. It's like, what is your fucking Adderall-infused brain doing? I know it's a minor complaint, but it's something I just could not tolerate back then, and even now it's one of those things I just find incredibly annoying. Because I feel like there's good APM, actions per minute, and then there's trash APM. You can have high APM, but wasteful, and that's what I think a lot of these guys do. It's like, oh, I can have 200 actions a minute. Yeah, you're rapid-fire clicking doing nothing. It's like I can sit here and talk for 20 minutes and have literally nothing to say. The concept still applies. God, this episode is just all over the place. Supreme Commander, APM. Just barely even touching on what's going on in front of me. Admittedly, it's kind of nice because it means we're doing what? Regenerative Tower? Huh. Never seen that before. I mean, I've spent a lot of hours playing this game. I have never seen a regenerative tower. I feel like those should be more important. Just throwing that out there. It seems like a way bigger deal than it's being made out to be. Boss fights should probably have a couple of those to be hazardous to players. Or it might be a certain level those start showing up.
Perseverance favors the bold. Give them more death.
I've seen people asking in the general discussion on Total War Warhammer, they're like, hey, are we gonna get a 40K game next? And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. It would be weird, considering terrain is such an important part in the game, and I mean, Napoleon kinda did it for Total War games, but I don't know, it could still be done. I think it'd be interesting.
You serve the Emperor well, Inquisitor.
Plus, I don't really know what else Creative Assembly is gonna do. And honestly, Total War Warhammer is sold really well, so I can't see them wanting to drop the Warhammer licensing too early now. But on now. The Alpha Legion cadre has been thoroughly expunged from existence. They will torment the Imperium and the grief-laden soul of the Emperor no more. The traitor Astartes were trying to corrupt the minds of millions of with psychosomatic suggestions broadcast through the immaterial veil. In essence, they attempted to raise crude secret armies to cause mayhem and diversion on worlds targeted for an invasion. The drug-infected masses would have activated via psychic impulses. Ordo data savants are now combing through the subsector archives, searching for similar cases. If they do exist, they need to be exposed and dealt with. Yay, we won! What do we get for rewards? Well, that's disappointing. Oh well. So, that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.